BXB. It's in the game!
Hey guys, it's me Ben, back with another one of my reviews for bxbgames.co.uk. Let me first of all start off with a preface here. I would never call myself a fighting game expert. I've dabbled in the fighting game genre for many years, ever since Street Fighter 2 Turbo on the SNES. I like my Mortal Kombats, I like my Soul Caliburs, that sort of thing. But I will profess, this may not be the best game for me to review, because I've never really played Marvel vs. Capcom before. I've read about it, I've heard about it, I've seen video of it, but this is really my first time really giving it a go. And I think it's fair to say it's probably not the best place to start, but here is my review of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 on the Xbox One. Part of the reason I'm reviewing it is because sadly on my team of guys here at BXB Games, we don't have any specific experts in the genre, which is a shame. But this is a re-release of the 2011 Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Fate of the Two Worlds, which was out on Xbox 360 and the PS3. And after doing some research and playing the game considerably, this is basically the same game. And it's coming out because we've got a new Ultimate vs. Capcom, I believe it's called Infinity, that's coming out later this year. So obviously this has been put out to capitalise on the hype around that. It came out in December on PS4 and it's just come out on the Xbox One. And there is nothing wrong with that. This is a very good fighter. If you like fairly easy to play, you know, from the outset kind of fighting games, which a bit like on the Xbox One, Killer Instinct, something you can get into immediately, pull off some flashy moves, look cool doing it, with the most ridiculous cast of characters you'll ever see, I suspect, in a fighting game, then this is a great place to start. You've got this colourful, beautiful art style that still holds up to this day, and I think it has been polished and improved upon for this re-release. So you've got I think it's like 40 odd characters, evenly balanced across the Capcom and the Marvel lists. You've got really obscure stuff, you've got really weird stuff like Phoenix Wright being in a fighting game, and things like Deadpool in the fighting game, which I guess makes more sense. The Marvel characters in general make more sense, because the Capcom roster, other than like the Street Fighter guys, kind of leaves you going, what's going on? Why are these people here? What, are they known Phoenix Wright known for his beat 'em up skills? But somehow it works. You know, you've got different archetypal characters. You've got the fast guys, the strong guys, the quick guys, the agile guys, the guys who can do big lifts and showy moves and power attacks, and then the guys who will get in and get kung fu on you and just rip you to pieces. So there's a lot of variety in that, and that's great. And then when it comes to game modes, you've obviously got the basic arcade mode, which is going to be you either against the AI or your friends in a couch situation, or you've got an online mode with a tweaked online netcode for this release, which means it's a bit better, it's a bit smoother. It worked fine for me. I didn't have any issues except, getting horrendously beaten every time I played the game. I think it's fair to say that with Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which is indeed a mouthful to say each time I attempt it, you are getting the same game that came out 5 years ago. And if you already played that game, if you still got that previous generation of consoles, then you're going to probably be asking yourself, do I really need to buy it again? And you probably don't, if you still are playing on the 360 or the PS3. If you're not, however, if you've got rid of that console, like many people do when they upgrade to a new generation, and you are hankering for a frenetic, beautiful fighting game, yeah, you could do a lot worse than this. I'd say, on the Xbox One specifically, Killer Instinct is a real good excuse for a fighting game. The season structure they've gone for is really compelling, and it now has a deep roster of characters. However, it's not as deep as this, or as varied as this. Some of the moves you can pull off in the tag situations, because it's a 3-on-3 tag game, which as far as I know is pretty unique. But then again, I'm not a big fighting game expert. But the variety of moves, the variety of combos and screen-tearing, flashy maneuvers you can do, even as a complete novice, is just fun and silly and awesome. One of the modes they've included here is this sort of you versus Galactus and his heralds thing. This complex sort of, I think it was DLC for the original game, and it's kind of brings in that whole trading card thing, which I'm not a fan of. There's over 100 cards to collect, and each of them can affect the stats and the powers of the heroes you're playing with in this crazy sort of galaxy-spanning conflict against Galactus and his heralds. Or you can play as Galactus and his heralds against the heroes if you so wish. But I don't really feel the need for cards and text, and it being a somewhat dated Capcom game that comes from a long legacy of fighters has some UI issues. It's not. The interface isn't exactly welcoming. gaming, and nor is it that easy to navigate. But once you get into the fights, the simplified control schemes that's focused around a light, heavy, and medium attacks, and to do with things like as well the tag button and the aerial juggle button, it makes it very easy to pick up and play once you get into the experience proper. However, getting there isn't the easiest thing, and that would probably be my biggest criticism of the game. You know, you could do with some UI streamlining. However, I had a lot of fun playing this game. It's not doing anything new. It's been released as a cash grab and as a promotional tool, and if you still have the previous game, it's the previous release of this game, I should say, it's completely redundant. So due to these factors, I can't really score it any more than 3 out of 5 stars.
BXB. It's in the game.